All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. My clock says 12 noon, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time, especially since this is the Friday before a 3-day weekend. And we have a lot to cover, but also want to be able to wrap this up in time so everyone can start the weekend. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Serra. I'm the Executive Director of the League of Municipalities. Um, Thank you for joining us today on our latest Lunch and Learn on the Cannabis Training Academy. A few housekeeping notes. We are recording this. We're running it as a Zoom meeting. So there is chat. You can drop your questions into the chat, and I'll either throw the questions to the panelists, or if they want to respond directly in the box, they can as well. I would ask that everyone keep themselves muted when they're not speaking. I think we're all kind of familiar enough with Zoom and other virtual platforms, and we've all been on meetings when somebody has their microphone open and they've said something that they probably wouldn't have said if they known the microphone was on. It happens to the best of us. So let's the best to do our best to avoid that. And so I would ask if you could keep muted unless you're speaking. This presentation will be made available on the league's website by Tuesday, along with the slide deck and any other materials that may come up. It's my pleasure to introduce the panelists. And first of all, I want to thank Melanie Willoughby, who's with us. She's the Executive Director of the New Jersey Business Action Center. I've known Melanie for a number of years with a couple of different capacities, but always forward looking for business interest and for employment and jobs, and today is no different. So Melanie, thank you to you and your team for joining us today. We will also have today Penny Wild, who is the Deputy Executive Director of the BAC, as well as, and again, if I mispronounce any names, I apologize in advance, Tahid Chappelle.
Yes, you got it. Yes, you did.
Right.
There you go.
All right. Sometimes I hear it and I still say it incorrectly, but I'm glad to hear that. He is the Executive Director of the BAC's Cannabis Trading Academy. And we also have Matthew Craig, good friend and partner, who is their government affair. I believe is the director of the Government Affairs Commission. So Matthew, thank you for joining us as well. You have any questions or comments? You can register put your questions into the chat box. I see they've been dropping some information for you as well. Today we'll be talking about this is the first technical assistance program aimed at educating the public and public officials on the cannabis industry and the licensing application process and so forth. Important for citizens, important for towns, whether or not you've opted in or not, because this is an economic development tool and a job creator. And if it's not in your community, it's in the next community. It's a good opportunity to educate yourself. So thank you to the team from the BAC. And I am going to pass the baton to first Melanie, and then I guess you can take it from there. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. And I really appreciate this opportunity for the New Jersey Business Action Center and our Cannabis Training Academy to be able to present to the League of Municipalities and your members. This opportunity is one that we really welcome because of the fact that the New Jersey Business Action Center, which is the part of the Department of State, and whose sole purpose and mission is to help businesses in our state thrive and grow. And so when cannabis became an industry in New Jersey, we saw an opportunity to be able to help the cannabis industry as well in thriving, and to be able to help particularly those that were negatively impacted by the war on drugs, who really needed that opportunity and that leg up that the Cannabis Training Academy would be able to offer, because it is an online, no-cost technical assistance program that provides the educational materials which will inform the entrepreneurs about the cannabis industry and the licensing process. So that is why the Business Action Center has the Cannabis Training Academy within its house, and why we are so pleased to be able to provide this information to you today because of the fact that you are key partners in helping to grow the cannabis industry. And the more you know about the cannabis industry and about the Cannabis Training Academy and what its goals are and how it's able to help you learn as well about the industry, then the better off we all will be in growing this very, very new entrepreneurial industry. And so I'd like to now turn this over to Penny Wild, who is the executive director. Well, she's actually the deputy executive director of the Business Action Center, but she is really the brains behind starting the whole Cannabis Training Academy. And then she will introduce Tahid Chappelle, who will lead the charge on presenting you with the presentation today. So I turn it over to Penny.
Thanks, Melanie. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. And as Melanie said, what we do is serve businesses of all sizes every day and provide and connect them with the resources that they need to grow and thrive. And so when this opportunity came up to work with the CRC and really provide the education to individuals across the state, and then the specialized education for those that are pursuing a license, we were all in. And we've been really fortunate to work with people in the industry that have helped us understand a lot of the hurdles that they face so we can address that in the training, and also to work with all of you to just continue with the education and understanding. And when you do accept licenses in your municipality or when you don't, and as Mike said, they may just be down a couple of streets from you. So how do we continue to support this industry? And lucky that we have created these courses. There are 10 levels. Tahid's going to show you more of that. And we've gotten instructors from across the state who have pursued licenses, who work in different areas such as real estate, financing, business plans, and you'll see all of that. And stay tuned, because we have a special gift to be able to provide access for you and your teams in each municipality, and we will provide that later. So with that, let me send it over to Tahid so that he can just get us underway.
Thank you, Penny. And before I begin, I just wanted to also give Matt from the CRC a quick space to introduce themselves before I drop into the slideshow.
Thank you, Tahid, and thank you, everyone. Matthew Craig, I work at the Commission, the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, as Director of Government Affairs. Started over the summer, and I've learned a lot about this space, but I am a resource for you all. If you have either licensees that are operating in your town or applying in your town, and you have questions about the process from licensing to investigations or compliance, I am happy to try to answer those questions, or at least connect you with the person who can get you those answers. Again, I thank you for the opportunity to come and join you and kind of piggyback off of the great work that the Business Action Center is doing here, and look forward to the space, and I'll share some more towards the end. But Tahid, thanks for the space.
Of course, Matt, and hello, everybody. My name is Tahid Chappelle. I'm the Executive Director of the Cannabis Training Academy. I bring about 15 years of combined experience as a medical marijuana patient, first and foremost, as a person who's lived in 5 different states where various legalization has happened from medical to adult use, as someone who has worked in the industry as a bud tender at a dispensary in Philadelphia, and someone who has covered the ongoing legalization for various news outlets in my previous life, both at the Washington Post and the Philadelphia Inquirer. I was involved in the cannabis legalization efforts in 2020, and I have had an opportunity to really participate in being tapped as the executive director and leading this very, very important technical assistance program that, again, as you've heard, is aimed to help teach not just entrepreneurs about the cannabis licensing application process in the industry, but the general public and municipal leaders like yourself about the industry, so that you can make the best business decisions for yourself and your towns and the surrounding community as well. So I'm going to get into the Cannabis Training Academy. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop it into the chat. And then at times, Matt, if you ever want to chime in too from the CRC perspective, feel free to come off mute. So just some background information, mentioning to what Penny had said, the Cannabis Training Academy is an online, no cost, go at your own pace technical assistance program with more than 60 courses that teaches people specifically different parts of the cannabis licensing application process. And I'm going to be highlighting some courses that are going to be particularly relevant to you all as we get deeper into this presentation. All of this is online. You can log in, you can register, you can take this program at any point, 24 hours a day, 365 days a week on your phone, on your tablet, or on your computer. The idea is to empower people to make the best business decisions for themselves. Maybe they do want to go for a license and work with the towns to establish a cannabis license in your jurisdiction. Maybe they don't want to get a license and they want to enter the industry as a worker, or maybe they just want to build an ancillary service provider for the cannabis supply chain, and they want to go that route too. The Academy aims to be kind of that reality check and to instill a level of consciousness so that people are making those best business decisions for themselves. Ideally, if students go through our program and they decide to go for a license and they do acquire a license, we would love to get a little shout out to make sure that people know that we did help educate them and make them the best, most informed decisions as they could. That's the goal. But ideally, ultimately, we want to provide as much information as possible so people can make those decisions for themselves. Like we mentioned, classes are all online. They're a combination of PowerPoint and video content. There's also documentations that you can download related to the scripts. So you can read right along as the instructor is talking about their specific course. Also, something that will be coming down the pipe too is that this entire technical assistance program is going to be translated in Spanish as well. So if you have a population that is heavily in terms of Spanish speaking as their first language, we are going to be rolling out the courses entirely in Spanish as well to help those that speak Spanish and use that as their primary language. On top of that, we're going to be adding a bunch of different supplemental information, which is also our instructor Q&As, which every instructor will come in and do a monthly virtual Q&A with students to talk about their courses, go a little bit deeper into their background experience, and be able to answer any specific questions related to their subject matter expertise. So like Penny mentioned, this is 10 levels, more than 60 courses sprinkled throughout our technical assistance program. As you can see here, we start basically as the application itself is starting. We talk about the licensing and the qualification courses, your business type, your application type, what type of license you're going to. And then we talk about the rules and regulations and the history of cannabis legalization. We get into the municipal laws, the zoning, the real estate, which is very pertinent to you all. And then we get deeper into the technical assistance program with level 4 and beyond, which talks about different parts of the application, developing a business plan, going for a conditional license, which is that half step before someone gets their annual license, which is the requirement that you need in order to actually operate a cannabis business. And then get deeper into other important topics that cannabis entrepreneurs are going to need to know, which is unions, specific background checks, SOPs, and then finally submitting all that paperwork to the Cannabis CRC. Now, one thing I will mention is that if you go through our 10 levels, through our 60 modules, we cannot guarantee that you'll get a license. Believe me, we wish we could. But we can tell you that if you go through our technical assistance program, you should feel empowered and informed to go ahead and actually write out the application and submit the application too. We hope that the information that we provide makes you feel empowered to do the application. We always will say, talk to different professional experts like lawyers, CPAs, build your team as well. But we hope that if you do go through our entire technical assistance program, you'll be walking into the application with eyes wide open. And you'll also understand how to engage with different people like municipal leaders. And you, municipal leaders, will also know how to engage with cannabis entrepreneurs who try to approach you about potentially building a business in your jurisdiction. Like we mentioned, this is all online, self-paced. You can start and stop, pick up whenever you want, and you have to progress through every single level in order. This helps us understand how intentional students are in terms of learning about the application process. But for you all, when we provide the league with a login, you will be able to have a little bit more less restriction in terms of accessing some of the courses that are pertinent to your interests as well. So you'll have a little bit more flexibility with that too. On top of that too, like I mentioned, we'll be doing instructor Q&As online. We'll be doing webinars with other subject matter experts across the supply chain system. And we're going to be participating in-person and virtual events as well. We're going to be traveling and spreading the gospel about the CTA in North Jersey, Central Jersey, and South Jersey. And we look forward to participating too if you'd like to bring us to your local jurisdiction to talk to your colleagues or talk to your community about the cannabis industry as well. Now that we've launched, we'd love to come into the community and actually show what we're working with. And I'll show you a little bit about the portal as we get deeper into this presentation too. You'll get a little sneak peek. I'm just going to do a little mention here too. I mentioned about the conditional license and the annual license. The conditional license, a lot of entrepreneurs in New Jersey are going for their conditional license, which is basically a half step. They can submit partial paperwork and partial applications to the CRC for review. The CRC can give them a stamp of approval saying, yes, you're on your way. Things look in compliance. You're heading in the right direction. And then ultimately, they will have to convert their conditional license to an annual license. And after they do submit their annual license, they still go through a bunch of different reviews, compliance checks to make sure that everything checks out. And one of the things about getting your annual license is you need municipal approval and you need to secure your real estate as well. So in order to get that annual license, those are two major things that cannabis entrepreneurs are going to have to go through before they get their actual annual license. And even after a cannabis entrepreneur submits their paperwork, there's still a myriad of different checks and balances that they have to go through in order to be validated and given the final approval by the CRC. Matt, I'm gonna pause here real quick to say if there's anything specific you'd like to say about the application process. Is there anything that you'd like to add to this?
Yeah, one of the questions that I think I get from municipal officials when I let them know that a conditional license has been approved in their town or listed with an address in their town is for the conditional to get approval from the CRC, you don't have to have your final site location. So a lot of times people will put their home address or business address, and then they'll go about the process of looking for that final site, which may not be in your town. So if you have opted out or you don't allow cannabis, it's not us going around your local ordinances. It's that. So I get that question maybe once or twice every time I send those out before our board meetings. But otherwise, again, if there are questions about this process, the timelines, and if you have an applicant who's kind of sitting somewhere along through these steps and you're not sure what's happening there, I can help to connect you with the licensing or investigation team to see what potential holdups or where progress may be at.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
So I'll just briefly talk about the first 3 levels that are our introductory courses of the Cannabis Training Academy. As you can see here, we teach students all the myriad of things that they're going to have to think about when deciding on the types of cannabis businesses or a cannabis business that they want to go for. There's various licenses. There's 6 types of licenses plus a lab license as well that you can consider. There's various application types that give you certain levels of choices in terms of how you want to submit and how you want to be considered as an operating business. There's a business category, how you want to structure your business itself. And then there's some other topics that may give you an opportunity to be previewed or boosted up into the application review based off of some of the background choices that you might get either as a diversely owned business, a minority owned business, a woman owned business, or if you qualify for social equity. Various things may give you an opportunity to be have your application seen ahead of others depending on if you qualify too. Level 2 speaks about the history of cannabis. How was cannabis made illegal, and now how did legalization happen, not just in the country, but in the state of New Jersey? Something that may be pertinent to you all here, specifically in level 2, is the introduction to the cannabis law, the introduction to the cannabis regulations, and the introduction to the cannabis final notice of application, which is basically a roadmap that cannabis entrepreneurs use to understand what they need to submit specifically in their application and what are the things that the CRC is going to be reviewing as they get their applications into. So if you are kind of starting from a square one or clean slate or blank slate of, I don't really know anything about the cannabis industry, I don't know anything about the law or the current regulations, we have you covered in level 2. You'll be able to walk through with one of our esteemed instructors who knows the regulations and the law like the back of her hand too. And one thing I have to highlight about our instructors, when we did a call out for instructors, as we were building our course materials, we had 250 people apply for an instructor position. We chose 25 of them. We screened their applications. We debated on the merits of their qualifications. We chose people to do interviews. We did hour and a half long interviews with the selected candidates. And then finally, we chose our 25 instructors. These are some of the best, teaching specific subject matter expertise that they bring to the table. They've won licenses. They operate cannabis businesses. They've worked on teams that have won licenses inside and outside of New Jersey. Many of them bring larger than a decade of experience to the table here. So you are really getting some of the best information from some of the top tier talent. And like I said, I've lived across the country and I've met a bunch of people. These are some of the best people that I've ever met in my life. So you are getting top-notch, very accurate information from some of the best people in this industry. And then last and certainly not least, probably maybe the most important level for you all, pertinent to you, is understanding what your abilities and capabilities and responsibilities are as a municipality, what types of laws that the cannabis entrepreneur needs to know from a state and a local perspective. What are the real estate considerations for cannabis entrepreneurs when they're trying to find a site, and how municipalities can also deal with zoning and land approvals and planning around that. And so level 3 really brings it down to the municipal level to understand what are the capabilities at the municipal levels, which municipal leaders need to know, and how should they engage with cannabis entrepreneurs. And on the flip side, how do cannabis entrepreneurs engage with municipal leaders if they've opted in or if they have opted out? What do those conversations look like as you consider bringing these new types of businesses into your jurisdiction as well? So in terms of access to the technical assistance program, when we work on getting you the access link, we probably think that level 3 will probably be something really pertinent to you all that you can jump right into and learn as you go as well. So our experts are really good at speaking about the municipal process, and many of them have worked with applicants who have won municipal approval and can speak to that experience as well. Matt, I'm going to pause here as well. Is there anything that you'd like to say around zoning, real estate, or municipal approval at this level?
Yeah, I think one of the other important parts of this is that we have to, when there's an application into your town, if this is the first time you're going through, we'll have to reach out to make sure that you're aware of the application and confirm that they have your support. This is really where I like to work closely with your municipal clerks, attorneys, zoning officers, or planning boards, just to fully understand that one, the town is in full support of the business that's trying to open, and you approve of where they're going to be. And that if you have questions throughout the process, I can help out with that. Each town, as you know, in New Jersey is different and operates on their own way. And so I find just hopping on the phone, answering some questions here and connecting, always happy to do, just to understand your perspective of your municipality, what's important, and making sure that you have as much information as you need to make your decision.
Thank you, Matt. I'll plug Matt in just to say that as someone who's lived around the country and has dealt with different commissioners and different regulatory agencies, not everyone has a Matt. So please utilize him as your government liaison. He is here to help. And certainly not every agency provides a space for someone like him to be able to work directly with you all. So definitely appreciate you, Matt, for joining us. And this also is for you all too. If you have cannabis entrepreneurs who are trying to approach you about starting a cannabis business, and you recognize that maybe they need a little bit more information, or they need a little bit more preparation or some background information before they approach you with maybe a better position, a better pitch or anything like that, please let them know about the Cannabis Training Academy. Say, hey, listen, we're open-minded, but we think that you might benefit from some education or for information before you come back to us. There's this Cannabis Training Academy that provides us free education so that you know exactly what we're looking for, you know what to bring to the table. Head to the CTA and learn more. We would love if you would give us a little plug too. I think everyone would benefit from some better education. And it might save you some headaches in the future, because people will be a little bit more informed and better prepared to approach you if they're interested in starting a cannabis business in your jurisdiction, should you have opted in. So I'm going to show a little bit about the portal itself, just so that you can kind of get your bearings of where things are located. And again, when you get access to the technical assistance program, you can jump right into the curriculum, and you can also go to different recordings as well that we've done through our instructor Q&As and our webinars. So I will show you what we're talking about when we're talking about the portal itself. So for those that actually want to register as a student, the website that I dropped in the CTA and the Zoom link is cta.nj.gov. That will bring you to our digital website. And then you can actually click into the portal to register as a student here. For those that are interested in becoming an actual student and not using just the general login link, we ask you just about some background information on who you are, where you reside, if you're interested in an application, what type, why you want to join the CTA, et cetera. You can choose your own answers, and then you can log in as a student. Once you get into the technical assistance program, you have a whole bunch of different options here. We give you some background information on who we are as a CTA. Down here, I just want to highlight a couple of things for you. We have some in-person and virtual events, specifically our instructor Q&As and webinars that we always host on our Zoom account. And you can register as a student and join in. You'll get a confirmation link, you'll get a Zoom link, and then you can join into our virtual Q&A with different instructors and subject matter experts whenever we hold them. We're holding them typically right now every Tuesday. And so if you log in, you can register and you'll get that confirmation. You'll be able to join us too. Other things that we want to mention on our homepage too is that we're highlighting and rotating our instructor spotlights. So specifically level 3, which I mentioned before, these are our instructors for level 3. If you choose to engage with the instructor outside of the CTA, specifically these cards, you can click on the card here and it'll bring you to the actual instructor LinkedIn page so that you can connect with the instructor outside the CTA as well. We also provide contact information to our CTA instructors as well. If you need to reach out to them individually, you're more than welcome to engage with our instructors outside the curriculum too. So there's 2 ways to get to the core curriculum itself. You can click on this beautiful graphic here, or you can go to the My Courses as well. Once you click on here, you will see a bunch of different things. First, how to enter every single level. It's pretty easy. You scroll through, you click on your designated level that you want to go to. Again, because you'll be receiving a general login, you should have access to all the courses as well. You can click on any single level that you like as a member of the league. And then once you get into the actual coursework, it's pretty straightforward and simple. You will see all the courses that are available to you under each level. You'll know which level you're in through the information on the left side, and then you'll be able to go through the courses. You'll get to meet your instructor. You'll go through the video recording, which is their PowerPoint presentation, which they're speaking about. And then you can actually click on their PowerPoint too and go through the PowerPoint individually too. If you'd like to look at specific slides and stay on specific slides too, we have a separate PowerPoint as well. Also just want to highlight within every single course, or rather every single level, we offer supplemental information too. So you can download more information about specific courses, and we'll also give you some questions to consider whether you're a cannabis applicant or maybe you're on the other side as a municipal leader. There are some questions that you may want to consider that could help you think about these things as you're approached by different cannabis entrepreneurs. So all these courses are all online. Again, you can access them on your phone, on your tablet, on your desktop, and you can get in and start learning at your own pace. And so all these levels are currently configured. We're finalizing the rest of the CTA. We have levels 1 through 8 currently configured, and we're finishing up levels 9 and 10, which will hopefully be done within the next few weeks. And one thing else I will also spotlight is that we've done some instructor Q&As in the past. So we have recorded that. And so if you missed any of our earlier recordings on our webinars, you can head to the media catalog on the top, and you'll be able to select between our expert webinars or our instructor Q&A webinars. And you can go in and you can rewatch any of the previous instructor Q&As that you might have missed. I'll just highlight again that our level 3 instructor Q&A is already within the site. So if you missed our previous Q&A that we had with them last year, you can watch it again, and we will also be bringing them back to the scene to do another instructor Q&A in the future too. So make sure you check the CTA portal, make sure you see if we're popping up to do another instructor Q&A, and make sure you register so that you can get that Zoom link and that calendar invite too. And the last thing I'll mention too is inside of our media catalogs, we have general webinars with subject matter experts. One thing I'll highlight is that we're starting to do some webinars with our sister agencies. Cannabis entrepreneurs sometimes only think that they have to deal with the CRC and maybe municipal leaders, but there are other departments and other agencies that also touch cannabis too. Specifically for cultivators and manufacturers, they touch the Department of Environmental Protection to talk about waste, disposal, smell. And so we're bringing in our sister agencies that also deal with cannabis entrepreneurs too. And we're happy to share their information too, so that you can contact them in case a specific cannabis operator is coming to you and you need more information from other departments related to your decision making as well. So this is the entire portal experience. Very easy to navigate, very accessible. And if you ever have any questions or run into any issues, you can contact us 2 ways. You can email us directly at cta@sos.nj.gov. Or if you are inside the portal and you click on the More button, you can click on the little Contact Us, and it'll bring you to a Contact Us page, which you can write us a little letter with any sort of issues, technical hiccups, or some suggestions on better education or more education that you need. We will always take those Contact Us cases in, and then we will respond when we can. Outside of that, I'm going to head back into the slideshow. We look forward to hearing your feedback on the technical assistance program experience as well. And I'm going to pass it to you, Matt, to talk a little bit about some benefits to municipalities who have opted in or are thinking about opting in.
Sure. Thanks, Saeed. And I'll start here first, again, with thanking the league for this opportunity. I was able to go and table down at the conference this year, which was a great experience for me, having started in the summer and then working up, gaining some knowledge, feeling like I had a little bit of confidence in what I was talking about. The league really put that at test. So I had to think on my feet, got to connect with a lot of municipalities. So this is a great experience again. What I do want to highlight first is just some of the resources that we have available for you as municipalities. This page here is one of the areas of our website. We push at the league, our messaging was, what can 2% do for your municipality, referring to the 2% tax your municipality can put onto cannabis businesses that are operating within your municipality. You can stay on that first one first. I'll tell you when to go over, but just here I want to point out a couple spots. You'll see you have the CRC High Points, which puts a lot of information out from our communications team. We also have a government relations website. We try to keep up to date with what towns have opted in for what licenses. So if you do change a municipal ordinance and you want to send it, we'll update our website so that people can find out which towns are allowing which licensees. We also in here have, if you go into the About CRC, you can request us to come out and speak or request educational materials like pamphlets, things like that for residents or community members. We have teams that will come out and do health fairs or medical clinics, things like that. If you have constituents that are asking questions or communities, we want to try to get out there. I myself trying to get out to some more committee meetings or council meetings if I can answer questions. What I'll do is my contact information will be here at the end, but we'll also have here in the About CRC is a municipal email, or I'll put this link into the chat, is a little microsite that we created for the conference. So there's a lot of information in there, and the same things that's on the website, but really focused for municipalities. Another thing that we're about to put out, and I saw this question about consumption lounges in there. A municipal newsletter will be coming out soon, hopefully within the next week or so, about consumption lounge process. The application window did open for our social equity businesses, and there are a couple other deadlines that will be coming up. So if you have retail dispensaries that are interested and are talking to you, and you want to understand what the municipality's role is in that process, that's what this newsletter is going to try to answer. And I will make myself available as well to just try to help you feel like you can go through that process, as this is a new thing that will be starting out in the state. Also, there's the opportunity, if you're interested, to get communications from the CRC. We have a listserv that we're going to be putting out and advertising with that newsletter, just to try to get pertinent information, not spam, but stuff that it would be important for you or constituents as you're navigating through cannabis. And then again, I said all my contact information will be at the end here. So you can go ahead, you can go to the next one. Again, what's to be expecting, what's coming up next? We've got about a third of municipalities, about 36% of municipalities in New Jersey will allow at least one type of license. We want to see that continue to grow and have you all be able to take advantage of the tax base. Your neighbors may have retail that's, or may have any number of licenses next to them. They're taking advantage of those tax base. Your residents are going over there to either to purchase and then coming back to consume, but the taxes are going to your neighbors. So I want you to be able to explore what 2% tax on this could mean for your community and help you to understand that process and what it would mean for you all. And then provide any resources to help answer questions that the community may have about this, given that we understand that there are a lot of misconceptions out about who and what it would mean to allow a licensee to come in, but we have a lot of great examples of businesses coming in, operating, and being a positive addition to the communities that they're serving. So the big things, again, cannabis lounge applications opening up, and then for me, just getting out there into the field, trying to meet with you all as much as possible, and trying to continue to answer questions. I get a lot of interesting ones, and like each town very much being a unique microcosm and unique set of circumstances. But if I can't answer it, I'd like to try to get back to you as quick as I can, particularly as I'm getting more set here in this role and understanding who has answers to what, and unfortunately what are some of the things that we can't answer. But again, a lot of resources, things that are available. If there's things that you're searching for and then you can't find, we can try to create some stuff and put that out there as well. So again, thank you. I'll try to be brief, again, realizing it's Friday, it's lunchtime. But this is a great experience and an opportunity.
Thank you, Matt. And to conclude this presentation, this will also be circulated through email and obviously in this recording too. But if you would like to contact any of us, here are our emails. And specifically for the CTA, we also have a general email as well, cta@sos.nj.gov. So if there are specific questions around education or information, or you run into entrepreneurs who could use some more direction or some more education around their licensing or their cannabis streams, you can give them my email or the CTA email, and they can reach out to us, and we can happily set up a conversation and make sure that they are getting the information that they need as well. And as Matt mentioned, his contact information is there at the bottom too. So if you have specific questions around municipal questions around him, you can reach out to him as well. So with that being said, that concludes our presentation. Happy Friday, y'all. Thank you so much for having us. And I think we will move to, if you have any questions, we can move to the Q&A.
Sure. Thank you all, to Matthew, for the presentation. There were some questions, and ironically, questions that I kind of expected, because it's questions that I've heard since legalization. And your staff answered, BAC staff answered them regarding training for employers to deal with their employees. And I guess the response to that was that might be the subject of a training down the road. And I know that's an evolving issue. The second was on the lounges. And I know someone put in a link regarding the process for a lounge. I see right there on nj.gov/cannabis. let me interject, because I get these questions a lot too, or the league gets them. Regarding lounges, I've had a lot of questions or concerns or inquiries regarding public safety issues regarding the lounges. Particularly if they're located in, in a kind of a dense district, a business district. Can anyone speak to that, or if not directly, where resources are to kind of talk about, how to address some of those?
So specifically, like what well, it's important to remember that the lounge can only be approved for a Class 5 retail that's already operational and has the space. And a lot of set regulations from on our side as to where they can be. So the town can set up their zoning and where they are going to allow cannabis businesses. So these won't be important, just to make sure the folks realize that there won't be a cannabis lounge that just opens up across town or down in your downtown if you don't allow that business to operate. From a public safety, I think it is again working with the industry and training so that they understand what it looks like to make sure that people haven't been overserved. They can't sell food, but they can provide water for folks that are in there, but people can bring food into the spaces. And I think the opportunities for like ride shares or other transportation to make sure that people aren't driving while intoxicated. And it's working with, I think, local law enforcement and putting out education about, we have some of these resources on our website about the dangers of driving while intoxicated or high. I think those kind of all still apply here. So I think we have some of those education parts in there. I think from a town perspective, making sure that you're thinking about if you're welcoming these into your town, are they going into places where they are accessible? And are you working with the business to make sure that people are educated and are being safe and are being responsible?
Okay. And actually, someone dropped in a really good question. I think he just put in I have to look at the link, but you mentioned the 2% revenue from the various license types. The question was regarding, are there any restrictions on the use of that revenue?
No, not that I know of. I mean, that is 2% that's coming in that the town can put towards their priorities or whatever it is that they're going to work. I would love to hear. I did have the opportunity to talk to a couple towns at the conference about where they were looking to put those funds where that revenue, but would love to hear stories about how towns are taking advantage of that. I think that's something from our standpoint, at least within my own, as I'm talking, would love to give examples. Someone had said they were putting it towards building a park, which I think is fantastic, but I'm sure it could help with a lot of other rising municipal costs.
Right.
And Mike, I just put in a link to that. There was a news article that talked a little bit about some of the municipalities that were using their tax revenue. I know it's behind a paywall, so I'm going to try to work some magic. But there has been a news article about some of the municipalities who are using some of that money for infrastructure, for building redevelopment, improving their main district, business districts as well. So I've seen some just myriad of ways that municipalities are addressing some of their infrastructure needs using some of that tax revenue too. It's pretty flexible from what I've been told.
And again, if anyone has any questions, I don't see any raised hands. But if you want to raise your hand or drop it in the chat box. Just a very general question. I know around the time of the law, and there was the 100 to 180 day window. Approximately 70% of the municipalities in the state opted out, at least initially. And you may or may not be aware, but we looked into it, talking to some of our sister leagues across the country. Those that had ventured into legalization ahead of us, the opt-out rate was about 70%. And so we kind of mirrored, and it seems to be pretty consistent. As towns that opted out may reconsider and might be talking to you, I know there's some mayors here, maybe they've opted out, who might be looking into it. They might have wanted things to kind of settle and let the industry mature a little bit. For any mayor who's on now or might be viewing this later, what issues would you look at to make a determination? Because obviously this isn't for every community, but what factors do you see coming into play for communities that are now considering opting in?
Sure. I think trying to understand what's the best license type for your community, and what are some of the issues that residents may have, or questions that they may have about this. Some of the stigmas and things that around this, given that it's legal status over the years. But if you've got a community that has empty warehouses, they could be potentially cultivation sites or manufacturing sites. One of the things that I've been able to do to get out and see some of these cultivators that have smaller footprints is they do a lot to mitigate the smell. You'd be standing right outside and not know what's actually going in there. There's no windows, there's no real advertising on there, but they're producing a product and farming that then is a tax base for you. If your residents are interested in being able to purchase cannabis products in their town, looking at retailers and some of the different operators, either some that are smaller businesses here in New Jersey or are multi-state operators. There's a lot of different options and people that are looking for towns. As the municipality, you have a lot of control over that who comes in. They have to get a resolution of support from you saying that you want to see them move forward, and they have to get cleared for zoning and all of the municipal approvals, and they can't get a license from us without those pieces. But I think a lot of it is looking at some of the resources that we have to anticipate some of the questions from your community. While I know it's been a pretty big 70% opt-out rate from towns, when they put it up for vote, it passed pretty convincingly. That residents were looking for this, and we're seeing, there was $1 billion in sales this past year. It's been over $2 billion in sales since it started in 2022. So residents are taking advantage of this, and maybe not the ones that you traditionally thought of. I think some of the reports and studies that we've seen is our community, 55 and older community, taking advantage of this, and some of the stigma that's going away from it, and those that are looking at this as an alternative or an option to help with things from anxiety to other issues, or just curious. And I think a lot of the retailers will talk to you about the educational and the experience that they want to create for people that come in that maybe have never been into a dispensary, so that they can feel like they could ask questions, you can understand, and purchase or not purchase. And it's also safe in terms of they have security guards there. They're checking IDs. This is not something where a kid could go in and access these things. They have very tight rules and regulations on that. Businesses put a lot of money and time into trying to get these things open. They're not going to risk losing their license to sell to somebody who's underage. And I also think too, one of the bigger differences is when you buy a licensed product, it's tested. It has to go through and be sure that all these things that could be in something that you're buying off the street are not in there. So I think if people want something that's safe, that has a little bit of information, and somebody who can help guide them through what this might be like and different options, they're going to take advantage of some of these retail sites that are in their community. And again, if retail is not for you, it could be something like manufacturing, cultivation, delivery. There are 6 different license types, and each of them would bring in municipal revenue that you could take advantage of.
I'll just dovetail real quick on that. Based on my experience too, working at a dispensary, you want to talk about security. That probably the most secured store you'll ever see in your district is a dispensary, because of the amount of security that is needed and also required by the law and the regulations. Nobody's getting in and out without being checked. No one underage is able to finesse the myriad layers of protection to get inside that store. And like Matt said, these operators, once they've gone through so much to get this license, they're going to do everything to make sure that everybody's safe and that they keep operating in a safe and informed environment too. So you are working with people who really get it, who really are passionate and really want to make sure that they succeed in security, and making sure that everyone feels safe and secure is top of mind with many of these cannabis operators too. So you are getting a lot of operators who really want to make sure that everybody is taken account for and taken seriously in terms of security. I did drop in, I worked a little bit of my magic, but for those that are listening and watching, I did drop in the Zoom chat, the link to the news article about tax revenues that some of the townships are using. And I just want to highlight, just for the recording, is that a place like Rochelle Park anticipated a $480,000 collection from one of its dispensaries, which accounts for more than 3% of its budget. Another township, Belmar, which is a smaller township, was anticipating $659,000 in tax revenue. Another township is planning on using its tax revenue for trash collection. So depending on the size, depending on the traffic, but depending on the health of the businesses that operate, you can see pretty sizable numbers that support your budget. And that money can be used for other things within your township too. So we see it as a net positive and a win-win to be able to open up some revenue to help you and your towns if you allow these businesses to operate too in a very safe and secure locations too.
All right. And thank you for working your magic. I remember that story. Mike Davis is the writer of it, and I know he reached out to me and we provided him some data. Let's see. We got a couple more questions in the box, and we have about 10 more minutes, so we're right on time. To apply for a consumption lounge, do you need a dispensary? We kind of addressed that before, but this is kind of a very specific question.
Yeah, and to speak to that, it has to be a Class 5 retailer, and it has to be attached to their space, but with their own set of like security regulations that would go with it. There's a lot of flexibility with what you can do within that space to make it a place where people would want to go to consume. You can't bring in outside cannabis, you can't bring in alcohol, but you can bring in food. So we're seeing some that are partnering either with local restaurants or other businesses to help provide an experience for folks. Again, we're very early in that the application window just opens, but these are some of the concepts that people have talked about as they explore whether they want to add this. Several of the retailers, knowing that consumption lounges were in the works, when they looked at the space that they were opening up their dispensary, they were factoring in square footage or part of it so that they could eventually put in a consumption lounge.
And actually, the second, what I thought was a question was actually your initial response to that, which you just added on to as well. And so he just dropped in a couple more links. Any further questions from any of the participants? You can put up you raise your hand or drop it in the box. If not, or any while we're waiting on that, and I'll give a few seconds so folks can maybe click on those links. Just if you want to review them later. Any wrap-up comments from any of our presenters?
I have a few. I'll make it brief, but like I mentioned, I have about 15 years in combined experience in this industry, from a patient, from an operator, from a journalist, from an educator, from an advocate, and now someone who's leading this first of its kind and truly the largest technical assistance program in the country. No other state government, from a municipal level, from a state level, has put in this amount of resourcing for education to make sure that everyone's informed and making the best business decisions. I'm truly appreciative of Penny and Melanie making the Cannabis Training Academy come to life. We are here to serve you. We're here to educate you, and we're here to make sure that you feel informed to make the best business decisions for you and your jurisdiction. So please utilize us. We're here as a friendly face and a service provider, and I'm just excited to be able to spread the gospel now. So we look forward to connecting and collaborating with anybody who wants to bring us into their jurisdiction as well in the future. Thank you.
All right, I see no raised hands or any further questions. So with that, thank you all for joining us today. Again, has been recorded and will be posted on the league website. Excuse me, should be posted by Tuesday at the latest, along with the slide deck, which I have. Any further questions? You have the contact information for the staff at the BAC, and as well as should be available, I believe, in the slide deck as well. So with that, we'll wrap it up. Wish everyone a nice long weekend, a 3-day weekend. Hopefully I hear we're in for some cold weather next week, so we better enjoy while we can. So everyone have a great weekend, and be well. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.